Hi, this is just a short video to show you how to download the General Social Survey dataset and open it in SPSS. And then it just gives you a little bit of basics of how to use SPSS. So we'll get started here. The first thing I'm doing is going to my browser, and I am going to just Google General Social Survey. That's it. Okay, so I'm gonna just type in General Social Survey, also known as the GSS. And the GSS is run by an organization called the National Opinion Research Center at the University of Chicago. It's called NORC. So I'm gonna click on gss.norc.org. And so here we are at their homepage. And you can get some other information about the GSS here by clicking through some of these links. We're going to go up at the top to the link that says Get the Data. So click on Get the Data. And the format that we want is SPSS. So we'll click on the orange box that says SPSS. And so here we have all the different GSS data sets that are available. And these are just files, links to files. And so we don't want the cumulative ones because those are way too big and they have too many variables and too many people in them. So we're going to get what's called the cross-section years, so individual years. And so we want the 2018, that's the most recent data file as of today. So I'm going to click on the 2018 link. And that is downloading in a zip file in my computer here. So I'm going to open that up. Let me switch screens. So the zip file is open here, and the GSS 2018 file is right there. So this is where you have different options. You can take this and you could drag it to your desktop. And then you've saved it to your desktop essentially. You could right click on it and copy it and paste it to your desktop. But you should save this file somewhere to your computer so you don't always have to go back to the GSS, click on Get the Data, click on 2018, download it and open it every time we want to use it. We're going to use this file throughout the semester. So you might as well just save it somewhere. So I'm just going to take it and drag it to my desktop. And then I'm gonna close that. And then I'm gonna go in and open up SPSS and open the file. So here in SPSS, I'm just gonna open that real quick. So now I'm in SPSS, and there's a couple different ways that you can open a file. You can just double click on it once you save it, and then it should, fingers crossed, should open automatically in SPSS. But you can also just open SPSS on its own and then click File, Open, and Data. So click File, Open Data in SPSS, and then you just find where your file is saved. And so if you saved it to your desktop, then you will find it under your desktop. So just scroll to your desktop and there's GSS 2018, and then you can double click on it. So when you, sorry, every time I switch screens, I have to change the sharing here to something else. All right, so when you open a data set, a file in SPSS, what happens is you get two windows that open at the same time. The first window is your output window, and you can see that it's output first because it looks totally different than a data file, which is like an Excel spreadsheet with numbers in it. And the second is that in the top left-hand corner, it says output. So you know you're in an output window because it literally says output. So this is an output window. And so this is just SPSS telling me what file I'm using. So it keeps a command record, a log of your commands that you've told it to execute. So you told SPSS, open this file. And so it's saying here, I opened the file. This is the file we have open. So you want to keep this output window. You don't want to close it down. You just want to minimize it. And we do that because every time we tell SPSS to do something, like run a frequency table, get means, or run some type of test or something, it will keep a record of our commands in this log, and then any tables that it produces, like a frequency table, will pop up in this output window. And so we just want to keep a record of everything that we're doing. Because we want it. So we're just going to minimize this window, and then I'm going to go to the window behind it, which is the actual data file. So I'm minimizing that, and then now I have to share my screen again, something else. Here we go. All right, so this is the data file, the data window in SPSS. And remember that there are two different versions of this, or two different views of a data set. In the bottom left-hand corner, you have the variable view tab. That's what we're in now, the darker gray. And you can tell we're in that because there's a little blue bar there that tells us we're in that. And so that's the variable view tab. And the variable view tab, the setup is totally different. You'll notice that this isn't just lots of numbers, columns and rows of numbers. So you see words here. And so that's your clue that you're in the variable view tab. The first column heading is the name of the variable. And then we have some other columns that were related to the type of variable it is, the width, and the number of decimals. That's not super important. The label in the middle is an abbreviation or short version that kind of explains a little bit about what this variable is. And you can stretch that label out if you hover your cursor in between the label and values columns till you get the double arrow there. And then you can, when you get the double arrow, click and drag that open. Okay, and so now you can read all of the label. Then we have the values column, which I'll talk more about in another class. The missing column, the columns and alignment we're not really super interested in. The measure refers to the level of measurement, so whether a variable is interval, ordinal, or nominal. And interval in SPSS language is called scale. And so we'll learn more about that later this week. So this is the variable view tab. The important things that are here are the name column, the label column, the values column, the missing column, and the measure column. And we'll learn more about them later, and you'll be able to read about this in the SPSS Survival Manual book. What you also see here in the variable view tab is that all of the variables are shown. Each row here represents one variable. So this is a variable that's called add any. It's a question that they ask people about their opinions about abortion. Okay, and the next variable is add defect, and then so on and so forth. So each row in the variable view tab represents a variable, the survey question, and gives you additional information about that variable. You can scroll down and you can see all of the variables that are in the 2018 GSS. They're in alphabetical order here, and you can scroll down faster this way. And so you can tell that there's 1,065 variables in the 2018 GSS. If you jump to the data view window, so bottom left-hand corner, click on the data view tab. And so now you can see that's a little bit darker gray, and there's a little blue line underneath it. So we know we're in the data view window. And it looks totally different from the variable view tab window. So here, all we see is what looks like an Excel spreadsheet, rows of columns and rows and columns of numbers. And so at the top here, each column represents one variable, so one survey question. And again, it's in the same alphabetical order. So it starts with the A's and then goes on to the B's and C's and so forth. And if you hover over a variable without clicking on it, you'll see that little yellow window with additional information pops up. So I'm going to scroll over here a little bit and look at something else. So if we look here at the variable age, AGE, if I hover over that, you'll see the name, age, the label says age of the respondent. Respondent refers to the person who took the GSS survey, so we call them respondents. And then the type of variable is numeric and the level of measurement is scale. So that's also an interval variable. Scale and interval are the same thing. And you can see here all the different ages of people in the GSS. So the first person who took the GSS survey, that's in row 1, was 43 years old. There's another person who's 74, somebody who's 42, somebody who's 63, so on and so forth. So the layout of the data view window is a little bit different than the layout of the variable view tab window. Okay, so here, what's in columns are the variables themselves, and what's in rows, these are the actual people who took the GSS survey. So row number 1 in the data view window is the first person who took the GSS survey. Row number 2 is the second person, the third person, the fourth person, so on. So everything in the first row, all of these numbers, those are all the survey questions that that first person in the survey answered. So all these numbers belong to the person in row 1, right? And so you can scroll down here and you can see all the people in the GSS. Okay, so there's 2,348 people who took the GSS survey. And then I forget how many variables there were, 800, 900, something like that. Okay, and that's it. If you've saved the GSS data set to your computer or laptop, then you'll be able to open this and close it anytime you want. Okay, hope that was helpful.